Hi everyone, today we'll continue the second part, which is still in computing redundancy analysis using our software. So as usual, you have to load the package that's required for this tutorial. So in order to carrying out or in order to compute redundancy analysis in R, you have to load this package. So if you haven't this package, you have to use this function and incorporate it to your R Studio. Then you can load your data. So I already imported my data in order to save our time, and the basic usage of the redundancy analysis in our software is this one, and it is highly relies on RDA function that helps us to carrying out or computing redundancy analysis. Then followed by the Y matrix is followed by the explanatory variable that found in our data. So Y the Y matrix and Y by itself has its own and data. Then the remaining x1 plus x2 plus x3 are the explanatory variables, again, which is built in other data. So this considered as X matrix. So the basic usage of computing redundancy analysis in R is using just this function. So you can assign any name that you want here, then followed by the RDA function. RDA means redundancy analysis, then followed by the response data, then it's explained by the explanatory variable. So the response data is considered as the Y matrix, and the remaining things are x1 plus x2 plus x3 up to xn are explanatory variables. So I already imported my data, but let's show you my data, what it look like. So SPE, then submit to this RStudio. There are, as you can see here, 27 total columns. So these 27 columns indicate that 27 different plant species. Then coming to the X matrix, before going to that, as I mentioned before in the part one, especially in the theoretical part, I define a number of things, especially in the ecologically motivated transformation. And one of among the 5 ecologically motivated transformation types, one is the Hellinger-transformation, so which is used for ecological studies. So you have to assign any name that you want here, but I assign here is SP Hellinger. Then in order to transform your data using the Hellinger transformation method, you have to use this function. Then again indicate the Y or the response data or the Y matrix. Then you can assign, you have to indicate the method that you want to transform. So it's Hellinger. So type this and submit to RStudio. Then let's show you the x-axis or the x matrix or the explanatory variable. So in order to that, it is two data. The one is the response data or the Y matrix, the other is the X matrix, which is the explanatory data. So these are U, Z, the altitude, temperature, RL, ZOH, radiation, ES, RAD, zoom. So these are the climatic parameters, and these are the full acronym. For example, RA stands for aerodynamic resistance, D for zero plane displacement, Z0 M is roughness, length, governing momentum transfer, and etc. So these are the acronyms for the environment across different 27 plant species. So the explanatory terms are this one. As you can see, the environment is the X matrix, the SP is the Y matrix. Then immediately you can create in two ways. For example, the easy one is just you have to assign any name that you want here, but I assign here is my underscore RDA, or I can RDA or A or K, whatever it is. Then RDA, you have to use a function RDA, then SPE or species underscore Hellinger means the transformed data that's using the Hellinger transformation or ecologically motivated transformation method. It's called Hellinger. So this one is SP. Then it is followed by what? By the data, the explanatory variables that found in my data. So in short way. Or alternatively, you can use in similar fashion. Here is the the species underscore Hellinger, then as explained by environment, the altitude, temperature, and all explanatory variables that you have in your dataset. Or you can also, for example, if you are interested, you can also limit to 3 or 4 or 5 explanatory variables. But if you want to use all the predicting or explanatory variables, so you have to just indicate simply or using this technique. So the Y matrix followed by the X matrix in this way. So our data is environment. So if you put this period, then comma, then if you indicate your data, so all the explanatory variables that found in our data will be submitted, and then the redundancy analysis will be computed. So type this and submit to our studio. Then in order to look your summary of data, you have to use a function of summary function, then indicate the my_rda, then submit this one to our studio, and then you will get this entire information. Yeah, as you can see here, the variance, the total variance is partitioned into two variants. That means the constrained variance as well as the unconstrained variance. And as you can see here, the total variance is 0.5 and the constraint is 0.36, and then the unconstrained is 0.137. And this indicates that since the constrained variance is greater than of that of unconstrained variance, it indicates that, or the analysis suggests that much of the variation in the response data is maybe accounted by the explanatory variables. Moreover, it gives you the eigenvalues and the contribution to each redundancy analysis components. For example, in component 1 here 0.22, in redundancy analysis 2 0.05, and etc. Additionally, it will gives you the principal component, the PCA. Even you can see here around 18 principal components. Furthermore, you can get also the species score, the site score in this manner, and also the biplot. Yeah, this is the linear combination of constraining variables, and lastly the biplot scores for constraining variables. Then if you are interested in displaying the triplot or the plot, so just simply using the plot function and indicate my_rda. So submit this one, then you will get the biplot over here. Let's run again. Yeah, yes, as you can see here, you can get the biplot, the plot for the triplot for redundancy analysis, and if you want to remove some these numbers, for example 10, 6, 4, 5 is is not necessary. So in order to remove that one, you have to focus only the plot into just species biplot. So if you want to do that, indicate the model that you created. So our model is my_rda, and you have to display the SP as well as BP. Then all the numbers will be removed and remain with this. Yeah. For example, the species, maybe if it is found here, TRU species is positively correlated with temperature as well as altitude. And for example, here the LOCVI is positively correlated to ZOH and D, and you can interpret the rest in this manner. Then if you want, this is the default one, because the default will only show you the component or the axis 1 as well as the axis 2. But if you are interested in the axis 1 and 3, or 2 or 3, or 3 and 4, that's dependent on the number of axes that you have. So if you want that one, so add choices and is equals to 1 and 3. So it will display you the redundancy plot with a component of 1, or in the axis 1 and 3. Yeah. So in this way, you can also select the number of the axis that you want. Yeah. Then the other thing is the total variance that explained by the redundant analysis. So for example, if you are interested in the adjusted R-square, adjusted R-square is very good as compared to the R-square value. So if you want to get the adjusted R-square value, so just simply use R-square adjusted function and indicate your model. So the R-square value is 0.72, while the adjusted R-square are 0.56. And if you remember in one of my tutorial, as the number of explanatory variables increases sharply, the R-square will be increased. But adjusted R-square will be increases only the added explanatory variable is significant. So it's better to attach to the adjusted R-square instead of the R-square. Then let's go to test of significance. And as all of you know that most of the time the ecological data are not normally distributed. Hence, we never use the parametric test, or using the parametric test is not appropriate. So the redundancy analysis model significantly depend on or relies on permutation test. So in order to carry out, or in order to check the significance of the redundancy analysis, you have to test three basic things. The first one is the global redundancy analysis significance. The second one is the axis significance, and the third one is the explanatory significance, or the term significance. So in order to use the global, in order to check the global area significance, you have to use ANOVA.cca and indicate your model. So don't confuse with the traditional or to the classical ANOVA. This is ANOVA.cca, which stands for the global redundancy analysis, and it relies on what permutation test. Even the permutation value here is the default is 999, and you can add or you can set your label. So type this and submit to RStudio. Then as you can see here, the number of permutation is 999, and even if the model is 0.001, which is less than to 0.01, and the model is what significant, and or the RDA is significant, and we reject the null hypothesis. And the second one is using the axis significance. So that in order to check the axis significance means RDA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and depend on the axis that you have. So use the same function, ANOVA.cca, then indicate your data, your models. Our model is my underscore RDA. Then if you just indicate by is equals to under quotation axis, so you are telling to R to check the axis significance. So type this and submit to RStudio. Yeah, then you will get this. So out of 11 axes, only the 2 axes, that means axis 1 and 2, are what statistically significant, but the rest are not significant. And lastly, you can also check for the terms. Or terms means it is to check the explanatory explanatory variable significance. So we have a number of explanatory variables, as you can see here. So we are going to check all these variables, whether it is significant or not, by using the same function still, the same function ANOVA.cca. Then you have to indicate your model. So in our case, our model is my_array. Then by is equals to terms. Here it's by is equals to axis, and the default is what? It will be the global array. In the case of significance, in the case of you want to run for the axis significance, you have to use axis, and here is the terms for the explanatory variable. So don't confuse with terms. Means just simply to check the explanatory variable, so whether it is significant or not. So type this and submit to our studio. So out of all these explanatory variables, here is G is significantly, so G is significant. Again, RL is significant, temperature is significant, altitude is significant, and even the UZ is highly significant. So by this way, we can check the permutation test using the global redundancy analysis significance, the axis significance, as well as the term significance using ANOVA.cca function, and in the case of array is null, just leave in this one. In the case of axis, you have to indicate axis. In the case of terms, you have to indicate terms. So this is all about today's tutorial, or the part 2. And in the part 3, I will come up with linear dependencies as well as a forward selection, and again we check or we trace back if presence of multicollinearity or collinearity in our data. So we will go for forward selection, and until then, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and as well as to provide your valuable suggestion to my channel, as well as through my email. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time.